Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'll be comparing the brand new Huawei Honor 7 with the OnePlus 2, which I recently got as well. Both phones have their pros and cons, so I'll be discussing everything from build quality to battery life, performance, camera, and the overall conclusion at the end of the video as to which phone is good for what. Okay, so first of all, let's start off with build quality. On the OnePlus 2, as you guys know, it has this nice metal frame surrounding it, and it has this nice sandstone back of the version that I've got here. Now this phone comes with different backs. You can have a wooden back, you can have, I think, if I remember correctly, some sort of other material as well. Maybe it's leather or something, I can't remember, but I think you have a couple of wooden backs, and you also have this sandstone version, which is the most commonly available. And when you buy the OnePlus 2, this is the one you're going to get most likely. So this phone has this nice metal frame surrounding it, as you can see around all around corners, and it has this nice matte back finish, which is quite grippy, and I quite like it when you hold it in your hands. Now, as compared this to the Huawei Honor 7, it's made from a different material altogether. It is made completely from metal and aluminium. As you can see, it's a very good looking phone, elegantly made, and the whole back side, as you can see, is made from one uni-metal aluminium piece, and it's beautifully crafted, well constructed. This reminds me of the HTC One M8 and the M9, and they both had the same build quality as well. You got this nice chamfered edges, as you can see in the video, and everything from your button layouts to power button to the bottom where the machine grill speakers are, the micro charging USB port, and also on the left hand side you got the smart key along with the tray, SIM tray. Everything is premiumly built, and the phone also has an IR blaster, which is very rare that you find in a phone of this budget. This phone will cost you around £250 from the VMall store, but it's still good value for money for what it offers. The phone is dual SIM version, obviously, and can also take memory card up to 128 gig. You can actually take the SIM tray out, and it can act as a dual SIM tray as well, or you can have one SIM and one SD card. But you can't have all three in one go. So all in all, build quality wise, I think it's very premium, very elegant. You are getting iPhone and HTC kind of build quality in a very cheap package, half the price, and it's well made. I tell you what, I've had a few Huawei handsets in the past, but this is probably one of the best Huawei handsets I've had in the last year or so, and this certainly is among the very best. Huawei P8 and the Huawei Honor 7 both have a premium build quality, no question about it. Now, when it comes to overall preference of build quality, I would say at the end of the day, it's all down to you, whether you like the metal frame, as you can see on the OnePlus 2, along with the sandstone back or a wooden back, or you can go for the metal aluminium construction. It all depends on you, what kind of build quality do you prefer. But when it comes to in-hand feeling, which phone is easy to hold, then I would say the Huawei Honor 7 is definitely easier to hold. This has a 5.2 inch screen, this has a 5.5 inch Full HD, both have Full HD screens, but I think the in-hand feel for the Huawei Honor 7 is much better. It's not as wide as the OnePlus 2, as you can see. The OnePlus 2 is a bit more wider than the Huawei Honor 7, so at times it can put a bit of pressure on your palm when you're holding it, and with one hand it can be a bit of a struggle, but most people will be fine. Whereas this phone, for most people, will be more than enough. In fact, for majority of the people, will be more than enough, because it's easier to move around, and you can put your thumb all the way up and you can pull the notification down. Whereas on the OnePlus 2, it's a bit of a struggle. You can still do it though, but you're stretching your thumb to the limit in order to get to the notification panel. So in-hand feel on the Huawei Honor 7 is definitely better as compared to the OnePlus 2. But I would say one thing here though, the OnePlus 2 is much more grippier as compared to the Huawei Honor 7, because the metal frame and one single aluminium piece can at times feel a bit slippery. So if you're going to buy this phone, make sure you buy a case straight away, otherwise you'll end up dropping it. Whereas the OnePlus 2, you can still survive without a case, because the phone has this nice sandstone back, and it gives you a very good grip in your hand. Even you have the metal frame, but because you got the sandstone back, it helps you gripping the phone in a much easier and stronger way as compared to the Huawei Honor 7. So end of the day, it's down to you. You like big screens, you like small screens, but I think for majority of people, Huawei Honor 7 would be the better pick, as most people, I think, in my opinion, don't prefer big phones. There are a lot of people out there who like big phones as well, don't get me wrong, but for majority of people, I think, including myself, I find this one slightly better to grip as compared to the OnePlus 2. Now, when it comes to screen quality, both have full HD 1080p panels. As you can see, I've set both on full maximum brightness, and if I bring them close to the camera, you'll see there's hardly any difference between the screen quality of the two. The OnePlus 2 is bright as well, and so is the Huawei Honor 7's full HD 1080p, bright and sharp, and there's no need for a quad HD screen, to be honest. I think OnePlus 2 has done a good job by not going with a quad HD screen, because firstly it affects the battery life, and secondly it affects at times the performance as well. Which I will discuss the performance and the battery later on, but for now I think both screens are nicely made. They're sharp, the contrast levels and the viewing angles on the OnePlus 2 are absolutely brilliant, with no color degradation whatsoever, and so is on the Huawei Honor 7 as well. As you can see, the angles, viewing angles are absolutely fine with no issues whatsoever. So screen wise, I think both have beautiful, sharp, high quality panels, and you will enjoy whichever phone you get. Now, when it comes to performance, this is where the OnePlus 2 wins easily, because the OnePlus 2 has a Snapdragon 810, which is one of the fastest chipsets available on the market, with 4 gig of RAM. By the way, this is the 64 gig version that I've got. If you go for the 16 gig version on the OnePlus 2, you'll probably be getting 3 gigs of RAM. But if you go for the 64 gig version, you get 4 gigs of RAM. You won't be able to tell much of a difference between the two anyway, but an extra gig of RAM obviously helps in multitasking and making sure the phone runs more slicker and more smoother. On the Huawei Honor 7, you have the high Silicon Kirin octa-core chipset, clocked up to a maximum of 2.2 gigahertz, and this also has 3 gigs of RAM. Now, the high Silicon Kirin chipset is not known for benchmarking and high-end stuff, but when it comes to day-to-day performance, you would not be able to tell any difference whatsoever, whether this one has 3 gigs of RAM or this one has got 4 gigs of RAM. When it comes to performance, both handsets are smooth, both handsets are nice, and there's no issues, no lag whatsoever. On the OnePlus 2, at times I feel that things tend to get slower for some reason, and it's very surprising though, and it's most likely to do with optimizing. I think the Huawei Honor 7 at times seems as if it's been more optimized as compared to the OnePlus 2, and you guys might laugh at what I'm saying, to be honest, but in my opinion, at times the OnePlus 2 can get slower. For instance, if I was to tap on the settings screen, settings widget, you will see 1, 2, it takes 2 seconds to open up, whereas on the Huawei it opens up instantly. So this small little difference is not down to raw power, it's down to OnePlus actually trying to optimize their software. As we know, this phone is running the Oxygen OS, and for that reason, obviously, it's a newer operating system. As you know, on OnePlus 1 last year they had the Cyanogen mod software operating system, whereas on this year they have their own made Oxygen OS. Oxygen OS is still very young. This is why I'm only running the 2.02 version, and I had 2 OTA updates on this phone so far. But from what I can tell after having it for a week or so, I think the Oxygen OS is still immature. It's a newly born operating system, and will take a while before OnePlus 2 can take out all the small little bugs and make it look a bit more mature and a bit more faster and a bit more efficient. I think even though Huawei are not that much known for optimizing stuff, but I think in this phone specifically, and also on the Huawei Huawei P8, they have done a very good job. By the way, Huawei P8 won the ISA Award, Phone of the Year, European Award for 2015, because all in all, that phone was a very good phone. Now this phone is much better than Huawei P8 in terms of raw specs and overall performance as well. So I do expect this phone to probably win a few awards this year as well. So they've done a very good job, optimized the software beautifully. This phone is, by the way, running Emotion UI with Lollipop on board. So let's have a look. Emotion UI 3.1, which is the latest Emotion UI version skin, Huawei's own skin on top of Android, and it's running on Lollipop 5.0. I'm not too sure which version of Lollipop that is, but it is very generic. It's difficult to make out which version it is, but it is running definitely 5.0 Lollipop, so that makes it run even more smoother, much better. So performance wise, whether you have the high Silicon Kirin 935 with the octa-core chipset, or you have the Snapdragon 810 with 4 gigs of RAM, I think at this point in time, it's so much hardware, so much RAM and powerful chipsets, it hardly matters which phone has got more hardware and which has got more RAM. As long as you can optimize your software with the hardware, I think you've got a very good phone in your hands. Whether it's the Huawei Honor 7 or is the OnePlus 2, both phones run beautifully, efficiently smoothly, and they are not too bad. They're both speed demons, and you will not be unhappy with the performance of any of these phones. Okay, now this one is very important, the battery life. Now this is one thing which a lot of OEMs, ever since the screens have gone more powerful, you got more hardware, more RAM, a majority of the OEMs are struggling with battery life. Now when it comes to battery life, I would say, if you wanted a simple verdict straight away, I would say Huawei Honor 7 is a winner here. It gives you over 5 hours of screen on time. Now this is something very interesting on the OnePlus 2. Now this phone has a 3100 mAh battery with a 5.2 inch full HD panel. This is a 5.5 HD panel, and it has 3300 mAh of battery. Now with this kind of big huge battery on the OnePlus 2 and only a full HD screen, you do expect a lot of screen on time. Unfortunately, it's not the case. When I got the phone new, it was giving me about 4 to 4.5 hours of screen on time. When I received the very first update, this is very important, you must listen to this very, very carefully. When I received the first OTA update on OnePlus 2, the battery life was absolutely brilliant. It was giving me 6 hours of screen on time. If you follow me on Google Plus, you probably or Facebook, you'll see the screenshot that I put on my Google Plus or Facebook or Twitter, and it was giving me 6 hours of screen on time with the first OTA update. As soon as the second OTA update hit the phone, the battery life went back to 4 to 4.5 hours of screen on time, which is again disappointing. But like I said, OnePlus are new to the business. They're still trying to optimize the software. OS is still a newly born software. It's not like CyanogenMod Mod from last year, and it will take a while for them to figure things out. And I'm hoping with such a huge battery inside, 3300 mAh with only a 5.5 inch full HD screen, I do expect this to improve in some in future OTA updates. And I will keep you guys informed. Please follow me on Google Plus or Facebook and Twitter, and you will see regular screenshots and all the updates about these phones if you want to know. But I do expect the OnePlus 2 to improve on battery. But as far as the Huawei is concerned, Huawei Honor 7 is concerned, these people have done a brilliant job. They have optimized the software brilliantly with the hardware, and with this phone with a 3100 mAh battery inside, you can easily get over 5 hours of screen on time with no issues whatsoever. If you are careful, you can even squeeze up to 6 hours of screen on time, or maybe close to 6 hours screen on time. This one can last you well over a day without no issues whatsoever. Don't get me wrong, the OnePlus 2 can also last you a day, because at the end of the day, 4.5 to 4 hours screen on time is pretty much the same which I had on my LG G4 as well. So that kind of screen on time can still last you a full working day. But when it comes to you wanting a bit more battery life out of your phone, if you want to be a bit more aggressive with the phone, or you want it to last you over a day, then Huawei Honor 7 is definitely the one to go for. Now when it comes to camera and specs, this phone has a 20 megapixel camera, Huawei at the back end, with no optical image stabilization. Now the OnePlus 2 has 13 megapixel camera with built-in optical image stabilization. This camera also has the laser autofocus, which helps the camera in focusing very, very quick, and it has a dual LED flash as well at the back end to give you more natural photos. On the Huawei Honor 7, they are using, I think, the Sony's latest IMX230 module with the 20 megapixel camera. You'll see this camera in a lot of phones this year. This also has dual tone LED flash, but no optical image stabilization and no laser autofocus as well. Okay, I wanted to take a quick photo of an object here. I've got this nice cup here, so let's bring the cup in the middle and let's take a photo both with the Huawei Honor 7 and also with the OnePlus 2 and see how it works out. So I'm going to take the photo now. Let's have a look and see if I can. I want to show you guys in the camera what I'm doing as well. Okay, there we go. So let's tap on the screen once and take a photo. There we go. And we'll keep this photo on. We'll also do the same with the OnePlus 2 with a 13 megapixel camera and see how that performs. Okay, now tap on the screen again and we take a photo. There we go. So the photo has been taken. Now let's compare both the pictures together and see how it comes up. At times the OnePlus 2 can struggle in low light, and as you can see, the OnePlus 2 is actually struggling here. It is completely out of focus, and it just couldn't focus on the cup for some reason, whereas on the Honor 7 it was able to beautifully capture the photo without any issues. Now this is disappointing because I've had this instance quite a few times with the OnePlus 2. Even though it has laser autofocus, by times it just completely struggles to focus on objects. When it comes to low light, especially in well lit conditions, it's not too bad, but when it comes to low light performance, it struggles. Let me see if I can take another photo and somehow tap and see, make sure that it zooms in, and then I take a photo. There we go, pinch and zoom. Boom. Hopefully this time around we have a better photo. There we go. So like I said, in low light conditions you have to be a bit careful with the OnePlus 2, otherwise at times you can struggle. Now let's have a look at pictures of both the phones, see if you can zoom it and see how good the photo is in general. Okay, so zooming the other one in as well, Huawei Honor 7. Let's have a look if we can compare these two really quickly. There we go, as you can see. Alright, from what I can tell, I think it comes to the actual text. Let me zoom this one a bit more so that we can have a fair comparison, because Harris is not as obvious as it was on the Honor 7. There we go. So as you can see, they are pretty much on par with each other. The oranges on the orange background on the cup, the color of the cup is a bit more prominent on the Huawei Honor 7 as compared to the OnePlus 2, and that is because obviously the Honor 7 has got more pixels. It's got 20 megapixel camera, whereas the OnePlus 2 has got a 13 megapixel camera. So the difference are obviously obvious. At times, megapixels can make a difference. The backhand, I think you see, cloth was more prominent on the OnePlus 2, whereas the white cloth here is a bit more over saturated on the Honor 7 and a bit out of focus as well. But all in all, both phones have a decent quality, with obviously more megapixels slightly making the other picture on the Honor 7 look a bit more better than the one on the OnePlus 2. Well, all in all, both cameras are decent enough, not too bad. But I think Huawei Honor 7 has a slightly better picture in my opinion as compared to the OnePlus 2. Now let's zoom them out and have a close look again. Yeah, I think the colors on the Honor 7 are slightly on the over saturated side, whereas on the OnePlus 2 is a bit more natural, the photo. But like I said, for casual photography, this is more than enough. There's 13 megapixels, 20 megapixels. It's more than enough for you to take photos and upload them on social media like Google Plus, Facebook and stuff. Both cameras are well capable of giving you a decent amount of pictures and video on both the phones. But I think in general, when it comes to camera quality, I'll probably have to give this one a tie, because both the cameras have their pros and cons. At times the OnePlus 2 can struggle in low light for some reason, and I hope in a future update OnePlus 2 will solve that issue at some point. But all in all, cameras on both the phones are not too bad. Okay, when it comes to now the overall support and warranty, and how does that work out? On the OnePlus 2 so far, I've had 2 OTA updates in the last couple of weeks, which was very quick though. You don't get to see that many OTAs, but I do expect that the OnePlus team will be releasing frequent updates on the OnePlus 2, because the OnePlus 2, like I said, is running Oxygen OS 2.0.2 and it's still very mature at a very newly born operating system, and it will take them time to mature it. Whereas on the Huawei Honor 7, the Emotion UI, I think in my opinion, it's a bit more cartoonish. Yes, it's got a lot more features on it, but it's more mature. It's more smoother, it's more optimized, more software, it's got more options in it. It's not, this is more or less like, you know, a naked skin, I would say, with hardly anything on it, just a few features and that's it. Some people prefer simplicity, like for instance the iPhone. A lot of people like the iPhone's interface because it's simple and straightforward. So the OnePlus 2 is definitely simple and straightforward, and the Huawei's Emotion UI is not as simple and as straightforward, with lots of options, but it's a pleasure to use. There's something about this UI which I like, and I know a lot of people out there don't like that. It's got this, it's got that, and the review, see that you read the reviews online bashing the Emotion UI, is this, is that. But I think it's a very useful software, something which you can, you know, really enjoy if you're a geek, and if you really love Android. I don't see many people hating the Emotion UI just because it's got lots of features, it's got this nice colors coming up, it's cartoonish, doesn't mean it's a bad UI. In my opinion, it's a very useful UI, and some very clever useful features which I absolutely love. So all in all, support and warranty wise, I think OnePlus 2 will probably win this, because it's got a better support and the team working behind that is much more efficient. With the Huawei handsets, traditionally I had the Honor 6 Plus as well, which is still running KitKat 4.4.2, and I'm still waiting for the Lollipop update, and I hope at some point I will get the Lollipop update on my Honor 6 Plus. But support wise, I think Huawei are still lacking. They haven't got a good handset, they got a latest software installed in this phone, but only time will tell how good they will support their phones. But traditionally Huawei has been weak when it comes to supporting their phones and updates, and they need to pick up on this if they have to compete with the likes of OnePlus, HTC, Samsung and LG, because they all are very efficient when it comes to releasing frequent updates. And today guys, It's down to you if you prefer a big phone with a 5.5-inch screen. This now I'm talking about the conclusion now. It depends on you. You can pick up the OnePlus 2 with a big screen phone, or you can pick the Huawei Honor 7. This, by the way, comes with 16 gig of storage, and this comes with 64 gig of storage. The 4 gig version that I've got. If you go for the 16 gig version, which is on par with this one, you're not gonna get any SD card expansion, nothing like that. Whereas on the Huawei Honor 7, you have the micro SD card expandability plus dual SIM version as well. But all in all their pros and cons. If you're looking for a phone which is going to get frequent updates and you like the sandstone back and the big screen size, then I'll go for the OnePlus 2. If you prefer a more gimmicky phone with lots of features in it, easy on the hand, metal aluminum construction, and then I would say go for the Huawei Honor 7. So guys, like always, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. Any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section, and please subscribe to my channel, guys, as it helps, and I will see you in the next video.